Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to us. It's always hard when I'm coming here to prepare something. I don't know what to prepare. I will see you guys on a different level. I'm so impressed with the way you study the lesson and the knowledge that you have. So it makes it really hard for me to. So I decided to use one of the old topics that I had and just kind of tweak it a little bit. Hopefully you're gonna learn something different from it, you know? I think we're supposed to take what we need and drop the rest, right? We're supposed to prove all things and then hold fast to that, which is good. So if it's not for you, then you haven't lost anything, right? So I know the brethren back in New York, they send their greetings and their love. When I was growing up, I always liked to look at those discovery shows, wildlife shows. You have these predators and preys, and one of the things that I looked at was from 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." And I thought, it's not that he's a lion, but as the Bible says, he's as a roaring lion. So I started looking at, I did some research on the character of a predator. And that's going to be the topic of my presentation today. Predator. Predator versus prey. So some facts, what I pulled up was of a good predator is its eyes are in the front of its head, allowing it to focus on one single point. And I have in bracket, it's prey. Its fur is the same color as its surroundings, which makes it harder for prey to see it coming. So it has a good camouflage. You just look at the lion. Where they're from, it looks at as the color of the grass, dry grass, because of the orange color. It has sharp teeth to rip through all its prey. Those canines. It's kind of like the dog. It has a great technique of hunting in packs and has a great team. All the lions in the pack focus on one single animal for the prey. They surround it, providing no escape. So think about the devil. As a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. We are not called to be predators, so obviously we are prey. So he's preying on us. It has claws for great grip while it's running. It's able to tear through prey. So the claws is not only used for while it's running, but it also uses a claw to grab and to take down. It's very fast, so it's swift. Its body movements while it's running keeps a high momentum to the lower part of its body. It has a low center of gravity. This enables it to change direction quickly when it preys try to avoid it. Its tail keeps it balanced while running at high speeds. It has superb eyesight, so you can see over very vast distances. So that's a predator. So you got to think of the devil as that. Having all those characters preying on us. But listen to this. The prey. The character of a good prey is that, and this is just a definition of it, an animal hunted or seized for food, especially by a carnivorous animal. And it says a person or thing that is a victim of an enemy, a swindler, a disease, like for example a gull. You know, the praise are not always the stronger animals. It's the weak animals that become prey. The feeble ones, the young ones. So if the devil is walking about seeking whom he may devour, who is he going to target? The weak. The young ones. So let's look at us as that, as the animals that the devil is trying to prey on. Who is he going to target? The ones, and I have here is the ones that are wandering away from the herd. Those who sometimes feel that they're strong enough and they can survive outside of the herd. Those that seem that they don't need each other. I can do it on my own. I'm strong enough. I can handle it. See, the illusion of being strong while you're weak puts you in a very vulnerable position. You know, there's one thing too that I noticed about, even from the lions, the old lions, if they're not strong enough, they leave them behind. So the pack can outcast, even though they are predators, they can outcast one of their own. Because if that pack is not willing to work with, if that one single animal is not willing to work with the pack, or can't keep up, so in itself becomes a prey as well. But what about those we leave behind? Those are all those that the lions seek to devour. You know, as we look through the Bible, you can see as we read through Paul's writing over and over, we can see that he's admonishing us to be sober and to be vigilant. And to be sober means that you're not drunk. Having or showing a very serious attitude of quality. That's what sober is. Being coherent. Always aware of your surroundings. To be clear-headed and straight. Someone who knows what they're about. And a person with a serious plan. You know, Sister Veronica told me that I only have like 47 minutes. And I said we could say it in 2 words. All these lessons that's coming up, it's sort of telling us that the time is getting closer. When Paul wrote those epistles, I think it was year 66 or 64, somewhere around there, right? And I can see in his writings that he had this sort of urgency that the Lord is going to come next year or next month. But that's like over 1,000 years, almost 2,000 years, if you give or take, right? It's over 1,000 years. So now we're in 2017. How closer is the Lord today? If Paul felt, and when he was writing that the Lord was, in the urgency that he wrote, that the Lord seemed like he's going to come next year, how closer is he today? Do we see that we have to be sober and we have to be more vigilant? The devil is playing. Believe it or not, we're in a warfare. We're not told to take up arms. We're not fighting against flesh or blood, but against these powers. Trust me, the devil walks in pack. He's the king lion. He has his imps everywhere. And he's preying on us, the preyers. We would never be predators. Because God didn't call us to be predators. A predator does not care about the prey. All he sees it as food. To feed my family and to destroy. But we are called to be kind-hearted and true. Remember the lesson this morning? You know, it says vigilant is carefully noticing problems or signs of danger. We're told in the scriptures that we have to, anything that seems wrong, we have to abstain from it. Abstain from the appearance of evil. So even the look of that things, whether or not, it may not be wrong, but we have to, because it can cause others to get weak, we have to avoid it. We just have to. I started looking at the things that will make us good prayers. And one of the things that I came up with is self-deception. One of the verses that I look at is in 1 Timothy 6 and from verse 3 to 10. So if you're through with me, I know I don't have a lot of time. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I know this is a long reading. 1 Timothy 6 from verse 3 to 10. It says, if any man teach otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmising, perverse disputing of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such turn away. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Sometimes people might feel that the more that they have is godliness. Self-deception. We could think that the things that we're doing can become, because you're doing it over a period of time, it becomes part of us. And we can be deceived into. And I remember Sister Sharon this morning, she made mention of those that will come to Christ and said, haven't I done all these things in your name? They did. And they were convinced that they were doing right. But they weren't. That's why Christ was able to say, depart from me. He didn't do the things that I really asked. He didn't you visit those in prison. They didn't do all of that. All of those good things. The other one that I look at is giving into the things of the flesh, not the spirit. In Galatians 5, 16 to 25. It's a lot of reading, but it's just what's written in there. So let's see. Galatians chapter 5, 16 to 25. It says, this I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusted against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Nor the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. You have adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulation, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies, envying, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. And then you have the fruit of the Spirit, which is different. Love, joy, peace. Once we give in to the things of the flesh, that makes us weak, because we're not walking in the Spirit. If strength comes from walking in the Spirit, and we do the opposite of that, we become a prey. A good prey for the devil to feast on. He doesn't like us. He doesn't love us. And he's all about the flesh. So when we do the things of the flesh, that's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants us to focus on things of the flesh so he can devour us. You know, this one that I did a topic on being offended. And I see offense, being offended, is one of those things that make us weak as well. Because the offense, we take it personally, and it's after a while it starts to control us. We started looking at the other person a wrong way. Eventually we start not loving the person anymore. And right after that, pride steps in, because it tells us that we are right to feel the way we feel. This person offended me, so I have a right to feel that way. I have a right to stay away from them. I have a right to not pray for them. I have a right to wish them bad. And that's what the devil wants. So that's the alienating part. You start to step away from the herd, the safety of the herd. And you fall into this trap that the devil sets. Because he really uses offense. You know, I looked at the word offense, and it says, the word offense in the Greek word, it says that it's the part of the trap, of a trap, where you hang the bait. So it's not the trap itself, it's the part of the trap where the bait is hung. So imagine, when we grab hold of the take the offense, and we pull it in, we actually activating the trap that the devil sets. So we see how we're supposed to stay away from it? Offense? We really want to stay away from offense. And one way that I noticed from Psalms, it says that great peace have they that love thy law, and they shall not be offended. So those who love the law of the Lord, you have a lot of peace. But offense can't touch once that happens. Let's look at 2 Timothy chapter 2, from verse 24. Second Timothy chapter 2. Verse 24 to 26. Anyone has it? Will you read for me?
And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness instructing those that oppose themselves. If God peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will.
Yeah. That's what he sets. He sets it by lack of knowledge. So let's say we don't have a proper understanding of what's going on. We take offense. But he uses that. It's his snare. That's what the offense is, a snare. And he traps us, right? You know, I heard this story a long time ago. So there's 3 bulls and a lion. You may have heard of it. This bull wanted to eat the lions, but he has to contend with the horns and the hoofs, and it's so hard for him to get to them when they're together. So he devised a plan. The plan was to, let's see how we can get them to not walk together. So he pulled one aside and he started telling them about each other, gossip. Then, oh, look, you see how that one is looking at you? He doesn't like you. You get that one aside and they start taking what he's saying, and they start looking. Any funny look is something. So the first one, he stayed away from the pack, from the herd. That was one. So he ate that one. The other 2 was together. He pulled one aside and he did the same thing. Gossip. You see, this one been saying this about you. And he got that one to separate himself as well. And he ate that one. And then the last one has no more. He has no more friends. So he's all alone. He ate that one too. Gossiping, that I noticed, is a very dangerous thing. The things might be true about that person. But once you share it with someone else for the intention of damaging, it really leads to dissension from the herd. It leaves ourselves open for attacks. So gossiping is not a good thing. But we don't have to be good praise, We don't have to fall victim to the devil. We can remain intact. The herd can remain intact by protecting each other. We always want to protect the church. This is the great herd that the devil is trying to attack. It says in Revelation that when he was cast out of heaven, he was wrought with a woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So he's really attacking the church. And Paul is saying in 1 Thessalonians that we need to support the weak. Those that are weak, we need to support them. Because the devil is going to eat them. So how do we support the weak? Galatians chapter 6, 1-3 says, by bearing one another's burden. That's why it makes it so hard for me to bring a message to this congregation, because you do that. The prayers and the studies and all of that I see, it's really good. First, Galatians chapter 6, it says, brethren, it says, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear one another's burden, and so fulfill the law of Christ. For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceived himself. So we have to bear one another's burden. That's one way to keep the herd intact. The other point it says is have fervent charity. We did a lesson before with charity. And charity is not just love, I would say. I know it's love is the definition of love. But look at charity in terms of, charity is that thing that causes us to reach out. I don't think it's supposed to be included in what we do, but it's supposed to drive us. Charity is considered, the definition, to be brotherly love. The love that we have which extends beyond blood bond. It causes us to lay down our life for the people that we love. It causes us to do things right. And as Paul says in Corinthians, it seeks the truth. It's not puffed up. It's not proud. It's always optimistic. Always seeking a good outcome. And that's the charity that we need to have. That's the kind of love we need to have. Always seeking a good outcome. Rejoice in the things that are good. Sometimes the flesh, somebody might do something wrong and something bad happens to that person and we have a little prick in our heart saying, yes, he deserves it, That's not the charity that we're supposed to have. That's something else. It's something else. The things that has a lot of power in it is prayers as well. We're supposed to pray always. Pray always. Always interceding on someone else's behalf. Thing is, we don't know what others might be going through. The devil is probably maybe already seeking those out. And he's just putting a lot of doubts in our minds, so we can't even pray. So that's why all prayers come in. When others have doubts, and they reach to that point where, you know what, I am so ashamed to pray. I don't think that God is hearing my prayer. And you have all those doubts in our minds, preventing us from doing those things. Those of us who are strong, we need to do that for those who are weak. The thing about weakness is, and the person who is deceived, the person who is weak sometimes doesn't know that they're weak until they fall into that problem and they realize that they're weak. But we who are strong, we're supposed to see that. So sometimes we need to be the eyes of those that are weak. And let's go back to the hood. For example, Gabriel, my son, he doesn't see danger. Doesn't know, he doesn't have that in him as yet. So we have to be the eyesight for him. We have to look out for him. And it goes with the church. Those that are just baptized and those that are young in the faith, we have to do that for them. Because they may not have the experience like the stronger ones have. So we need to see for them. We need to warn them. We need to look out for them. It's very dangerous for somebody to depart from the body. They're not departing because they're strong, they're departing because they're weak. It's weakness. But they're convinced it's strength. I don't need them. The devil is seeking those out, those that separate themselves. So we have to remember the days that we live in is very evil. The world is enticing, and the things of the world is very enticing. And things of the flesh, that's what the flesh wants. We really don't want to give in to it. When we do, we put ourselves at risk to be eaten by the devil, devoured by the devil. So I just want to say these few words, and for myself as well, we have to be sober. We have to be vigilant. We have to be the people who is always one with the body, unity, defend the faith, contend for the faith, which is once delivered. This is what we have. Anything else apart from that is weakness. Everything else will be destruction. If you look at it, the world have it that they have a long way to go. Everything is progressive. It's getting better. You have medical discovery. They're able to combat all these things. So the world doesn't see themselves as being ended, as destruction is coming. They don't see that. So if you follow that path of what the world is offering, it's a deception. The devil convinces people that they have a long time to live. And even though they die, sometimes they still teach that they're alive. You're going to come back in some other form, so you're not dead. That's what he's teaching. It's deception. The progressiveness of the world is deception. And that's what we need to, we have to be sober, we have to be vigilant. Because he's come with everything. And these last days, because he knows his time is short, he's going to try even harder to get us. So I say to you, and I say to me, we have to be sober, and we have to be vigilant. God bless you.
Amen.